Hello, everyone. So, welcome to another session of Healthy X Sundays podcast, where we bring you the most important and actionable information in the space of nutrition and wellness. So, I'm your host, Dave from Mind Muscle Project, and joining me today as the co host is Kunal Jain, also known as the Veg Diet Coach. So, today we have a truly special guest, Mr. Anil Kumar from Japan. Mr. Anil Kumar had an incredible journey of transforming his health by defeating metabolic syndrome, psoriasis, and a lot of other issues. He is a certified ACE personal trainer with an incredible physique at 53 years old. Without a further ado, let me welcome Mr. Anil Kumar to this podcast session. So, welcome, sir. Welcome.
Okay,
Welcome, sir.
okay, okay, okay. Welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's start.
Yeah, let's get going. So the first question is like we all seen your like whenever first thing we see on your DP is like the incredible physique. Then we come to know that you are 50 plus, and that's like everybody's jaw drops at that moment. Uh, so can you tell us about your background and how you got into this in this field of fitness and health? I
Okay.
don't think that's the your first thing, right? I don't think that you are by profession a fitness person.
No, I am not a. I come from a very normal, like a middle class family, like office going family. So, hello. Yeah, and I was into athletics a lot during my college time, and I kept doing it. Then once my profession started, when I started doing my job after my graduation, then it was like a normal office going kind of a work. And I have never gone into a like a fitness kind of a thing, like where I could learn about it. Like I was a normal gym goer. I used to follow the normal diets what we have to eat in South India, basically rice based food and all those things. And I was working in a chemical industry, and there I after about 7 8 years into the job, then I started getting this skin rashes. But initially, generally, what we do is we buy some cream and we apply it, thinking that is some rash. So it was after 6 7 years that it spread all over my body, and then I came to know that that was psoriasis. So looking at my parental side, my parents both passed away with cancer, and my mother was having diabetic also when she was died. So basically, I don't know why. We couldn't find out why, because they passed away a long back when I was very young. So that fear of sickness and that hospitalization was always there with me. So I was very curious about knowing what to eat, how to be healthy, and all those things. But generally, what we do is we turn out to the YouTube videos, what we see, and we go to the main media things. What people say, like don't eat fat, don't eat the egg yolks, eat 3 times, eat 4 times, drink a lot of water, those kind of things. I used to go to gym, eat protein powder, something whatever we get from the market. Soya we used to eat, thinking that this is full of protein. That kind of a life. But I never thought about it. But this disease, what I had, the psoriasis, what I had, that was basically a turning point to me, because I had to leave my job. I was working with Seat Tires. I left my job and I changed it to food industry. I went into a food industry thinking that that will be taking care of my health rather than being away from the chemical background. So that's how I landed up in Dubai. I was in Dubai because of the dry climate. The psoriasis was not so aggravated, but still I had itching all over my body. And sometimes because of stress, it goes up. Sometimes because of some other food what I eat, it used to go up. So it was like on and off into the same thing. So in I think 1997, 8 years before, that was the time when I joined Twitter, just for information. That's why you see my I didn't have a like plan to make something like that, health and all those things. Just like a random person, I joined Twitter, and many of my handles which I was following was all doctors and research people talking about diet and fitness and all those things. So my first turnaround happened when I read the book written by uh, Dr. Ken Berry. So that was my turning point. The lies what doctors say. That was my first book what I read about medicine and health and fitness. So that was the turning point for me to think again, go down the rabbit hole and find out what has happened. Then I happened to see many profiles similar to those people, and that's how it all went into getting into that fitness thing. Yeah,
Right. So everything started with Twitter, I suppose.
yeah. Twitter was my
Or
first
now,
first,
yeah.
first institute where I started learning about this.
Yeah. So how did you like particularly get into this LCHF or low carb, high fat way of eating? Like, how did you discover it? Did you try other stuff like calorie counting or other stuff? Like, most people have this learning curve before they. Most people who do it themselves have this learning curve before they settle into some sort of like food habits and all. So, was there a learning curve for you, or you just read Ken Berry's book and directly went into LCHF? Like, what was that? What was your journey
Uh,
on that side?
See, 11 years before, that was a time when I came to Japan. So when I came to Japan, here there was a lot of relief for my the problem what I had. I was like, kind of a toffee kind of a body. I was having a big tummy. If you see my old pictures, about 12 years before, I had slim legs and hands. I used to go to the gym. I used to eat everything, workout, walking, jogging, everything. But then my body structure was very different. I couldn't look like what I was like that. And I never imagined that I'll be like that. So coming here, I could here the medical thing was very important. Like, every 1 year you're supposed to go in for a medical checkup in Japan. That's a compulsory one. And everyone above 40, it becomes mandatory for them to do it. So when first time when I went to a medical checkup, that time they said ki you are in a pre-diabetic stage. My HbA1c was about 7 or 6.5, 6.87. They said you are pre-diabetic, but they don't prescribe any medicines. They suggest that these are the observations what we have, and then we have to find out a doctor, and then we have to go and get the treatments done. But then I was like surprised, like what am I doing wrong? Like everybody, I'm going to the gym every day, regularly going, eating everybody, what everybody is telling, doctors are saying, eat, don't eat this, don't eat that, 5 times eat, 6 times eat fruits, eat vegetables. I was doing everything. Then why my health has become like that? So that fear was always there, what my parents have gone through. So kind of sickness fear was there. My mother was diabetic, so that fear was also there. So when I came into here, then I started digging deep into it. So then after reading Ken Berry's book, I found out no, I have to rethink on what the doctors are telling me. Because when I went to a doctor, he said you'll have to start some medicines. Your cholesterols are off. Your LDL was not so high, but my HDL was very low. Triglycerides were a little bit higher. So they said you'll have to start medicines. And I was not ready to take medicines. I wanted to do some research. So then Dr. Nick Norwood's also one of the guys whom I used to read a lot about in the YouTube, and all his lot of videos are there. So from there, I could find out that I wanted to do some experiment, and that's the first time when I started doing. I went into a ketogenic diet. That was first I started doing it. So if you see the diet, the time when I have transformed my body from that to first, I went into a ketogenic diet. It was totally ripped, and I have gone to a single digit body fat. And I could literally, if outside my shirt and all, you can see my abdomen's protruding out, like, that kind. But I became very lean. If somebody looks at me from outside, they used to say, "Arey, you look, what happened? Are you all right?" That kind of a question. But once inside the gym and I'm taking off my dress, you can see every muscles on my body. I was ripped like that. But then there was like when I go to for my regular checking, my LDL was very high. So the doctors were very much like, no, no, there is something wrong with it. You'll have a heart attack. You'll have heart problems. So they made me do a TMT test to find out this thing, whether I have some problem. Then I passed that. Then they said you have to do a echocardiography and the all the things I had to gone through it. And I did everything and they did not find anything, but still they kept on prescribing me statins and all those medicines to lower my.
So they
I never told them I'm on a ketogenic diet, but they said ki you have to start medicines. So
so
but
they
then
basically keep testing you.
yeah, get me again, pardon.
So they basically kept testing you, and you jumped over all the hurdles.
Yeah, yeah, because they whenever because after every 1 year when I go, they say ki your LDL is very bad, your triglycerides were normal, HDL was in a good side, but your LDL is very high. You need to do like that. We are finding ketones in your blood. That is also not good. Like that they used to say. They used to be very surprised to see blood ketones being 2.5 and 1.8 and 2 and all those things. So they say you have ketones also in your blood, so you have to start some medicines. Do you do some special diet? I said I don't eat any special diet. I never told them, because they the way they approach is like conventional doctors do. So I was not ready to open up what I was doing, but I was feeling very good. uh, my sleep was good, my focus was very good, I never used to have hunger pangs, my mind was very much calm. So those things I was very good at. So I thought, let me hear to my body what my body says, and then I kept on doing it. So there, my HbA1c came down very drastically after I did that. In another 1 year, there was a big drastic change in my HbA1c. My blood sugar, it never went above 100. Even after my food, also it never went. I have a blood testing unit with me. Even in that time, I never found any time my blood sugar going up, and my ketones were about 2.53. I used to do a lot of fasting during that time. And then that was a time when this carnivore thing I stepped out. I came to hear about this carnivore thing. That was Sean Baker was the main person to whom I used to hear and listen and read about. Then I wanted to try that. So gradually I shift from being ketogenic to high fat diet to a mostly carnivore kind of a diet. And there I found that my muscles started growing up big. I started being big at that time. So that's how gradually I switched over to carnivore, and a little bit of
So
yeah.
yeah, so like that is very interesting, right? So the first thing, everybody's impression is that when you are on a low carb diet, like carbohydrates are important for muscle building is the general consensus out there. And what from your experience, it's pretty clear that that is necessarily not true. And one more thing is that one more interesting thing is that most of your muscle building happened post 40s. Right? That is something we don't see in people usually. So could you shed some light on that, like as far as the muscle building aspect of for somebody above 40, like what can they realistically do?
Yeah, because okay, fine. So I was very curious when I became started looking leaner and healthier. I wanted to experiment more into building my muscles in the gym. So what happened? I did my ACE certificate, personal trainer course. That's the time when I joined ACE. But their dietary advisors are again the same kind of general dietary advisors. But the way they started teaching exercise, the biomechanics of the body, how to do, what to do, and what frequency to do, that was totally different from what I was doing before. So learning, being an expert in learning how to exercise, my way of exercise changed, my duration of exercise changed, my frequency and my order of exercises changed. And I started, like, I have serious, many times I used to have injuries like this pain, shoulder pain, back pain. Then I used to go out of gym. So after that, it's almost 11 years, I never have any kind of injuries in my body till now. No joint pains. I squat almost 100 kilos. I don't have any problem. I lift almost, deadlift is almost 180 200 kilos. There is no problem. So that changed the way I was looking at exercise, the way I was doing exercise. along with this protein, high protein food, that's the only contribution what I could feel has helped me in building myself.
Right. So I can vouch for this myself. Like I had the opportunity to work out for a session with you, and believe me, it was one of the best sessions. Right. I work out for a lot of years, but the technique, everything was spot on, and I've never had this with any other trainer.
Oh,
So
thank you very much.
yeah, yeah. So I can definitely understand the technique and everything plays a huge role.
Yeah, yeah.
So coming back to our thing about the carnivore diet, like how, like, so when you started this carnivore diet, was your psoriasis automatically went into a remission? How long did it take, and did it have any benefits beyond this autoimmune condition?
Yeah. When I started my carnivore diet, earlier I had some issues. It did not completely wipe off. There were a few spots which remained. And, I used to consume milk also. I used to consume cheese also, and fish, eggs, and meat. That was my carnivore thing. And I used to drink some coffee sometimes, little bit of some low GI fruits like berries and all those things here and there, not so much. I never felt like I should eat something like that. So when I eliminated milk completely, I was, maybe I am lactic tolerance, I don't know. But even now, sometimes if I have a cup of milk, I have small places where I start feeling the itch. Okay, so now milk is totally out from my house. I don't have any more milk in my house. I don't buy milk, I don't keep, or I don't drink. So, yes, eliminating milk had been 100%. Like, I think maybe I was immune, like, I was allergic to milk for that reason. So, removing milk from my diet has completely stopped my psoriasis, completely. So, now I don't have psoriasis anywhere.
Right. So how does your daily meals look like? Or what do you do these days? What kind of a diet do you
Well,
follow?
if I look at I change my, I eat, sometimes I eat red meat also, and sometimes I eat goat. I don't eat any kind of poultry now. I've totally stopped poultry. So basically, eggs, fish also I use the smallest fish what is available, which is the mackerel is the biggest fish which I use. I don't use tuna and salmon and all those things because basically they are more farmed and all those things. So I avoid those fishes. So basically, I
Right.
eat meat, maybe about 500 grams of meat. In that, maybe about 20% is fat. Then three eggs. That's my only
Right.
food what I eat. Okay, I cook
Is
it in
is
a,
this like
yeah.
is this like a two meals a day pattern or one meal? What is it like? Intermittent
What
fasting?
I do is early morning I go to the gym. Then I come back.
Right.
I cook my meat. I pack it and I take it to my office. I don't eat anything in between except for my magnesium after coming from magnesium and creatine after coming from my gym. uh, some water. I take my food with me to the office. And about 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock, that is my feeding window. These 2 hours I eat. I don't eat anything after that time. So from 4 o'clock I start because this 500 grams of meat is quite a whole lot for me. Plus about 3 eggs, 3 to 4 eggs. So this takes almost 1.5 hours for me to finish. I don't eat in one sitting because I'm in the office at that time. So almost half a meal I finish in between. Then I again work. Then again I eat my balanced food. So that's what I eat. So
Right.
earlier I used to come home and then take my yogurt. So after once I stopped eating milk, then that's out of my menu. Now no more. Maybe I eat a half a avocado before sleeping because it helped me more to go into better sleep if I am tired. Otherwise, I don't eat anything. That's my only meal what I have. So it's about 2000 calories, 2500 calories a day.
Right. So this is like one of the what you said is one of the misconception out there. Like everybody assumes, oh man, one meal a day means just have everything in one sitting. That's what one meal a day people believe it to be. And now that
Hmm.
you've cleared it up, You can have multiple meals, not multiple meals. You can have multiple sittings as long as you squeeze it within the say a 1 or 2 hour window. That
Yeah,
is still a
perfectly.
day.
Because it's very difficult. The protein is so satiating. Having a
Mm-hmm.
500 gram, 400 gram of meat together in one sitting plus three eggs, that will be too much for my body to absorb and to digest also. So 2 hours
Right.
window is quite comfortable for me because the moment once I start eating, when I feel filled, I stop eating. I don't force myself anything. There are times when I don't
Right.
feel like eating the second time also. If my workout intensity is not much, if my stress is a little bit high, then I may not finish the entire meal also. I may skip it. Then I don't eat it again. If I don't feel hungry, I don't eat. That's simple as that. And that's the time when I sometimes I take my food, I don't feel hungry. Maybe the fat content is very high, I don't feel hungry. Maybe next day also I don't feel hungry, I don't eat. I eat only when I'm hungry. That's simple as that. And there are days when I have gone without food for almost 5 days. That's a maximum fasting duration which I have done, with except only for
That is
water and
quite incredible.
yeah.
Like one of the things that stands out is like, do you feel that your diet, like, do you feel that mad or one meal a day is something that the general audience can try? Hello?
Yeah, I think see, if I add, if suppose my food is predominantly carbohydrates, if I try doing food with about 70% carbohydrates and balanced meat, the normal Indian style of food, then I am sure I'll feel hungry by the time I'm back home. Especially in the morning, I'll be feeling very hungry. Even after workout, I'll feel hungry. Many times I have seen people like after the workout they are so hungry. For me it's
Mm-hmm.
exactly opposite. I feel so satiated after my workout, so I don't feel like eating any food.
So there is no business of pre-workouts, post-workouts, and whole drama around it, as
Yeah,
far as you are concerned.
yeah, because my thing is when I go for before workout I have a half a coffee.
Yeah.
That's with salt, because I don't drink any water or any fluid without salt in it. Let it be coffee or let it be tea or let it be even the simple water. Without salt for me, water even tastes sweeter for me. So I have become
Uh-huh.
so it has become a habit for me to consume anything with salt.
Uh-huh. Yeah. By the way, I remember having the best coffee ever with you. That was the most amazing coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I keep carrying with me because nowadays it's not like people say you get habited of it. No, now it's about 1 week, 2 week now. I have not had my coffee also. I don't feel like.
Right.
If I feel like having it, I have it. Otherwise, I don't. Because I'm
So
trying some other
do you
experiment now with.
advise? Hello.
Yeah.
Do you uh, do you advise people without autoimmune uh, to try out this carnivore diet or this elimination diet, which is basically recommended for autoimmune? So, do you recommend people outside, like
Yes.
people who doesn't have like go into this kind of a diet?
See, what I would say is body health deteriorates after the age of 30, 35 because our hormones are going down. You know, our strength goes away, our flexibility goes away, our cognition goes away. So if you cannot stop it from declining, but you can slow down that decline. That's the only thing what I am looking at. And I could feel that if we just don't care for this, change the diet. Generally what happen in a house when we make food, if the child is eating the same food what a father is eating, and the same food the mother is eating, right? Even the quantities are almost same, the quality of the food is almost same, but what I feel is everybody has got a different need based on their age, based on their lifestyle. If I am in the office, sitting in the office and working, my requirement will be different than my son who is going to the school, playing, and a lot of physical activity, mental activity all together and coming back. So I would say that key, we have to change our diet based on our current health situation. So if somebody feels that yes, it's deteriorating, they should think about changing their diet.
So, have you at any point, like I think you mentioned this, have you tried introducing, tried, kind of introducing honey and berries and fruits? You know what I'm talking about, the
Yeah,
Paul
yeah,
salad,
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
I
stuff.
got your point. You
Right.
see, I'm not saying I'm 100% carnivore and I don't drink coffee, I don't drink tea, I don't drink like any berries, nothing. No, no, I'm not like that. Okay. A small space I have given, like, I don't want to cut off everything from my life. Like berries are there, blueberries are there, strawberries are there, like, sometimes a small piece of mango or a little, because see, again, what I'm saying, the time what I consume, that makes a lot of difference. Because sometimes what happen, once I am coming from the gym and my glycogen is completely depleted, that's the time, if I consume a piece of fruit or a piece of rice or something which is carbohydrate, I don't think that will make any difference to my health. Okay, suppose at night when I'm going to sleep after my dinner, if I eat a big chunk of fruit and then go to sleep, I'm definitely sure that this is going to crash me in the night. Because whenever I try a fruit at night and I go to sleep, I definitely wake up midnight, because that's a time when my sugar dips, sugar goes down, and I the cortisol come inside and I wake up. So if I don't do that, what
Right.
happens is that when my blood sugar is constant, I don't wake up at night. That's one
Right.
observation I have seen. And as far
So
as strength is
basically, you
concerned,
are.
yeah, as far as strength is concerned,
Right.
yes, I could feel more energy in the gym when I'm having, if I eat a piece of like honey or some sweet potato or something and then go to the gym, I definitely feel like kind of, I have more energy into it. But what happens is, end of the gym, I feel drained out. you know that one observation is very prominent in my workout routine when I am on glycogen, or if I am not doing anything and if I am on a fasted way of workout. So this difference, as I have very prominently noticed.
Right. This is very, very interesting. This is like this should make everybody who says carbohydrates are essential for athletic performance sit back and think. Here's a person doing it, and it's something to ponder about.
Yes.
And so to the next question. Okay, this is an interesting one for all the vegetarians out there. Uh, so vegetarians, at least vegetarians over here, their defense, like they often defend soy consumption by pointing to the diet of the Chinese and Japanese folks. What they say is Japan. Look at the Chinese. Look at the Japanese. They are consuming a ton of soy, and still they are healthy. So, as somebody who lives in been in Japan for 10 plus years, could you clarify? Do people in these parts of the world do consume as much soy as people believe, or is there more to this? Is it more nuanced in type of forms and quantities and whatnot?
Yes, yes, definitely. Because basically, there are about five types of soya products what they consume. One is tofu, the other one is natto, some is miso soup, soya sauce, and the green soya, that what do you call, the soya bean, as a whole soya bean, which is basically steam cooked. Okay, these are the five ways how they consume soya bean. So if you look at the consumption of soya bean, it's not like the entire Japan eats all this product. Like tofu is basically in that Kyoto area, Okinawa area, and that Kanto region. Natto is again fermented soya bean. It is been eaten by only the eastern Japan area. Miso soup again is used by some northern side where the climate is very cool. They make soup out of it. Like that's a soya paste. And if you look at the per capita consumption, it's about 6.7 kg per annum per person. That comes to about 20 grams a day. Okay, in any form, average.
Right.
Okay, and now the problem, see, even everybody don't consume because the harvesting of soybean has dropped a lot. 80% of the soybean which is consumed in Japan are imported from US, Australia, Canada, and all those things. So if you look at the per capita consumption of meat, it's almost 100 grams per day for them. Okay, so
So here, most, yeah. Please continue.
yeah, so then it doesn't mean that everybody eats soya. No, that's not there. That's a wrong concept which has been referred like. Of course, people eat sometimes, maybe weekly once or twice, but in different forms. Like natto, even I eat sometimes,
Right.
very rarely, because that's a very smelly, sticky thing. Like like the lady's finger, when you chop it, how it becomes that sticky thing. It's like that. But that's why only
Right.
few people in Japan can tolerate that taste and the smell. But every Japanese don't eat it. They can't eat it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there is nothing like uh, soy chunks, which is like the most common thing out here for vegetarians. They like the gym going guys suggest soy chunks. There
No,
is nothing like
no,
soy chunks.
no. When you talk about soya chunk is the soya milk being extracted, all the extracted for making tofu, and it's the waste actually. In Japan, nobody makes soya chunk. Okay, they just remove the
Right.
extract and it is going to feed the cattle and all those things. Nobody eats here. It's only in India that it has become a product and somebody is selling it as protein. Okay, for Japanese,
Right.
soya has never been a source of protein. It's always been meat, or it has been fish, eggs, and milk.
Right. So this like thanks for clarification. Like finally we got an answer to this. So
Yeah,
staying in Japan, like one more question is like in the conversation we had before, and I think you briefly touched upon this as you said, like you you happen to speak something about something called metabol law in Japan. So what I understand, like a tax or something of that sort. Could you shed some light on this? And does such measures make a difference? And you have been in Japan and India and other places as well. So do you see a noticeable difference as far as metabolic health is concerned? Does such measures actually help?
well, good question actually. This is really interesting. This law was passed in the year 2008, and the law says anybody who is above 40 years and who has got a waist circumference of 85 centimeter for men and 90 centimeter for women, they come under this metabolic law. And as I told you earlier, here it's mandatory for everybody to have a medical insurance. And once in a year, they have to go for a full body checkup. And everybody over 40, it's mandatory. They have to do it. So what happened if they find your waist circumference is more than what is being stipulated? Then they recommend that you have to correct it by next time, next visit, and they will tell you what to do, where to go, and all those things. But if you are consecutively found that you are crossing the limits, what they do is they increase your per monthly contribution on the health insurance. That is number one. You migrate up yourself higher into the contribution levels, where you will have to pay more money, so that your money is used to cover up in future your health disasters. The government doesn't want to pay from that. So what happened? This is a deterrent factor to all those people. Like if you come under that, your employer is also informed that this person is above his tolerance, and you start deducting more money from him and pay it to the government. So this is a kind of like shaming for the employee also. So obviously they are into going into a gym or changing their diet habits or stopping drinking or whatever they can do. So I feel that this is a very good thing. Like if you look at obesity risk score, and if you look at Japan as a whole thing, Japan is the only country which has become rich without getting fat. The obesity rate in Japan is 3.6 percentage. Okay.
Wow.
So obesity risk
Right.
score is 5. So when you compare this with UK, it is 64 percentage above BMI 30. And when you go to USA,
Wow.
it's 32% of the population above 30. So you can make out the 3.6 and 32 and 64 is a huge number, right?
So
And Indian
this
population, you must be aware that it is 70%. Urban population is 70% obese. And this has increased from 1.2 to 9.8 for women and zero point 0.5 to 5.4 from 1990 to 2022. And we are also in the obesity risk score of 7 by 10. That is, we are almost near America, who is 8 by 10, and UK is 6 by 10. So
right.
it's really a big.
So this law essentially is like you to like we give you free healthcare. We will give you as much cheap for healthcare as possible. If you decide to not be responsible and decide to be a burden on the health system, then you will be punished. This is basically what
Exactly.
this law is, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. So generally, the
Right.
system here is 70% of your health expenses government bears. You bear only 30% of your expenses. Suppose you have to pay, your total bill is 10,000, you pay only 3,000 from that. 7,000 the government pays on behalf of you. So the government says, if you don't take care of yourself, we don't want to, you will be visiting your hospital frequently and it will be a burden to the government. So they say, if you are not taking care of your health, we'll increase your contribution to the insurance company by 5%, 10%, 15%. So that is how they control it.
So coming to a general question, if you could suggest three simple changes a person can make to improve their overall health, what just what would those be?
Well, it's a very tricky question because 3 points is like, you know, there are many things which you have to consider because it depends on whom you are talking to, where is the position in which he is now. That determines
Hmm.
what you have to do. Suppose he is slightly metabolically sick, a little bit of, a little bit of fatty liver, a little bit of something, he has got some bad habits. So, first you can eliminate that. But if he is
Mhm.
acute like me, your hormones are also gone down, your disease is also down, metabolism is completely dropped, broken down, a lot of issues, then, if 3 points or 4 points won't work. But basically, I would say that we have to start. Basically, what I feel is food is the main contributor. Okay, for me, food has been the main contributor which has changed my lifestyle. Okay, exercise I was doing before also. Now also I'm doing slight changes of exercise is okay. But I'm not saying everybody has to go to the gym and work out. Even body weight training is okay. Many times when I don't get time in my office, so in the office, maybe 5-10 minutes I take a break, do about 20-30 air squats, do some push-ups, and I'm okay for that day. Right. So ultra processed food elimination is very important. Avoid foods which are coming from a factory, uh, processed oil, the so-called vegetable oils, which they are being advertised as healthy oils and heart healthy and all those things you could avoid. Having a good sleep is very important. And there are many supplements which we need to take, especially if I'm talking about a vegetarian who cannot have many supplements are missing from his vitamins are missing from his diet. He should be taking care of it. Cooking your own food, that is one of the big hack. What I thought is the only reason why I'm healthy is, even if I go to a Japanese store also, I cannot tell them not to use a vegetable oil, even soya oil. All those things are being used, you know. So cooking at home, having a good sleep, having a positive mindset, having social interactions, very important because Japanese, if you look at them, after 50, 60, the moment they retire, they are much more happier and healthier after that age because the moment they get disconnected from the office job thing, then every day morning before a office goer goes to office, they are ready and they go out golfing somewhere, in the garden somewhere, playing some sports, going for rehabilitation centers. They are completely active. That's why, I am very much surprised to see. The people here in Japan, after a particular age, they are much more happier and healthier.
So yeah, one of the like if you generalize the earlier question about the 3 points, like let's just say for somebody in their 40s and 50s, like say what you were 10 years before with your health, and their health is screwed up, uh, what can be realistically achieved, right? Because somebody can look at you and think like, oh, I'm going to build a lot of muscle. That might not exactly be possible. So what can be a realistic target for people in like what would they?
Yeah, it's also it's a good question because generally Indian mindset is like once you are 40, they think it's over. Life is over. Now I have to think about my retirement. Now my health is gone. I don't care. I can't be recovered. So what I would say is that having a positive mindset, that's the first thing anybody above 40 should have. Don't think that it's not possible. That's the biggest thing. That if your mind is not ready with you, any food you eat, any kind of workout you do, it doesn't change anything. That's one thing which, because after the psoriasis thing, when it started growing, like I was the happiest person because I couldn't shake hands with somebody. I couldn't expose my hand with somebody because even shaking hands, they could feel that why is it so rough, like that because of the scaling and all those things. So once it cleared off, I I was so joyful that time. So I thought ki if this has gone off just by changing a diet, I'm in a good way. I have doing things in a good way. So being positive is the main thing. That's what I would feel that ki we shouldn't feel that time is over now, kuch nahi hoga and all those things. And the second thing is what I would advise everybody who is wanting to change themselves is do a blood work, a complete blood work. Knowing where you stand is very important to know how will you reach their destination, how long will it take, what are the things you need to correct. So doing a blood work is very important. That's what I'm saying. And a few like misconcept, like eat 4 times, eat 5 times, drink 8 glass of water, don't eat salt too much. So those things and all, I have to say that ki, these are all like uh, you should change the way it looks like. Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, sleep when you're sleepy. Don't force your body too much. That's a simple things what we have to do.
So before we take audience questions, I want Kunal to join in and you know uh, share his perspective on the whole.
Yes, Kunal.
I Yeah, I
Hello.
mean it is such a so much of learnings in your story and the way you explained it in very simple terms. I think I learned so much today from your story, and of course there's more to learn. So thank you for sharing it. I
Yeah, my
wanted
pleasure.
to
My
just
pleasure.
Thanks, and I wanted to ask you, like in Japan, apart from having the lowest obesity rates and having happy people, what other things do you think can be implemented from their culture in our culture, which can lead to better mental health? They have concepts of ikigai and all those things which people do read about, but any practical tips which can really help in improving the mental aspect of our lives?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question, because in India, maybe in the metros, you will find people, especially females, coming to the gym and working out. But here, I have seen so many parks. Today I have seen his Mind Muscle Pros, Dave's one tweet about the open parks. This concept is here in almost all the parks in Japan. They have these machineries, the simple machineries, which has got some mechanical systems to move around with your body, do a little bit of stretching and exercise. And you will find every park in the morning and in the evening crowded with people, of the old age people. Men, young women, you will find them only in the gyms because they have a time. What they do, there are so many 24 hours gym near the office. You go there, it's a fitness center. It's not a gym concept. So you come there, you remove your dress, you have everything there. You get a pant, you get a shirt, you get a towel. You work out, you throw everything into the wash basin, you put your dress, take your shower, go to the office. In the lunchtime, if you don't want to have lunch, they come to the gym, remove their dress, put on their gym wear, work out, and go back. So those kind of facilities, even if big corporates provide inside, like big corporates like SoftBank and Rakuten, they have their own gym inside the buildings. So
Okay.
first thing. Second thing is what I would very much importantly say that eating a very healthy diet, I think it's a social, if you go to the school, basically, you're not allowed to carry your lunch boxes from home. Every food served in the school for the children are made from scratch. There are dietitians who check what has to be made, what is the quantity to be made. For every class, every section, the quantity, the quality is different, and everything is made in house. I go to talk to many students. If you ask them what is the favorite food you have, so they will name meat, they will say fish, they will say seaweeds, they will say rice, but they never name any processed food. Suppose if I go and ask the same question to an Indian child, he will be definitely saying I like Maggie. I've heard this many
Right.
times, right?
Right.
So what I would say is basic education from this young age is inculcated into such a way that being healthy has become a part of their life. The quantity of food what they eat, for example, there is a thing called onigiri. Onigiri is a small cube of rice with a meat
Right.
inside. Maybe sometimes there is nori inside, sometimes there is fish inside. So this is kept on convenience stores. And basically, if you go with the Japanese, for the lunch, what they eat, if they don't carry a lunch box from home, what they eat is this one piece of onigiri, little bit of rice. It's maybe about 35, 30 gram, 40 gram rice with little bit meat or fish or something inside. That's all. A bottle of juice or
Right.
something. That's all what they eat. But in comparison to what we eat, on the contrary, I used to remember when I used to take my lunch box, it used to be almost, about 300, 400 grams of rice
Right.
covered with a lot of vegetables, of course, but the quantity is so less. If I look at the protein part, it's just negligible. And the quantity what we eat is so immense. Then we have evening, we have a chai, then we have 2 3 biscuits. you know these are
Right.
all things what we eat, and it has become a compulsion for us. But Japanese, it's not like that. Of course, they go eat fancy food, they eat a lot sometimes. That is sometimes in a month. But
Right.
generally, if you look at their diet, it's very small portions. You look at Japanese ladies, they are hardly 45, 50 kilos, 52 kilos, not more than that. You will not find a huge body moving around in Japan. No, you will never find.
Right.
There are some
I
men who are like fat. They are terribly like, they must be, you, if you follow them, you will find that every night they will go to the bar, they will drink, they will eat all the fried food with that. And you can directly connect their body exactly to the food what they eat. But basically, if you look at girls, ladies, they are much more healthier than men.
Right. Interesting. I read that in Japan they sometimes use to have their meals on a quarter plate instead of a full plate. And that
Yeah,
change itself can bring about control in your portion size. And basically, we overeat always. So,
exactly.
so a lot of good things we can learn from their culture as well. And I
Yes,
think in India
exactly.
also, you mentioned about these open air parks. So now there are places which are opening these open air parks where they have all these mechanical machines and open air gyms concept
Yeah,
is
but
coming
then,
up.
again, it has to be a part of people feeling that ki, okay, it's okay to go and work out there. India, I think people always are worried about what others will think if I go there.
Right,
Here, they don't care. Here, nobody cares for what others think about me. That is one important factor what I find the culture difference between a Japanese and an Indian. We like to be, we are very much concerned about what others will think about it when we go there to open gym. It doesn't look good, those kind of things. But Japanese, they don't care. I go to the
Right.
I stand somewhere near the metro. There are some old guys who come there. They don't just stand in a queue, they'll hold some railing and they'll be doing squats, you know till the time the
Right.
train comes. They are
Wow.
always at that age. Nobody can imagine a person doing it, and I could see so many old people with an oxygen tank moving around by themselves. They have a small trolley which they push, and when they are tired, there is a small seat on that. They'll sit on it. Then when they are relaxed again, they'll push the trolley, living alone and taking care of themselves.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I guess we are ready for some open. We are ready for some audience questions now.
Yeah.
Uh, so if anybody has any questions, uh, please come forward. You can at least you can type in your questions so that we can discuss it as well. Anybody with any questions?
But they
So
have to
I'm just
type,
gonna
right?
share. They can type or they can just speak up. Also, I'll willing to lend them the mic. If they want to come forward and speak. So one of the questions I've seen is like, can you please tell me about the waste circumstance cutoffs? That's a question asked to one of the audience.
Can you repeat again, please? Sorry.
The question was, can you please tell me about the waist circumference cutoff?
In Japan?
Like waist,
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess so. I guess that
metabolo.
Yeah,
Mhm.
according to Japan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Japan, it is like 27.5 if you are over 65 years of age, and 85
Uh-huh.
centimeter for men after 40 years, and 90 centimeter for women after 40 years.
So I don't see any more questions. If there is any question, please come forward so we can discuss that. Kunal, you wanna say something?
I just wanted to uh, ask on the psoriasis part. Like you mentioned that vitamin K2 plus vitamin D3 helped in your case. So is it something which is generic, anyone can benefit, or is it very specific to people with different cases of psoriasis?
Because during one of my blood tests, because I expose myself a lot to sunrise, because in the morning when I go to the gym, I go by my bicycle, so I am open. Coming back, I wear bare minimum clothes, so I'm open. But still I found that my vitamin D was low, so I had to take an extra supplement. It was coincidental because I was not thinking that it may help in eliminating this psoriasis for me. But coincidentally, I found that when I started that, about 5,000 IU I used to take of vitamin A, I mean vitamin D, and along with K3, I found that that has helped me in recovering from this psoriasis.
That's amazing.
We have a
Yeah.
we have a question. So one of our audiences asked, "What is the reason? What is the reason you left poultry?" And the person is curious to know about that.
Yeah, good question. Because see, what I found that any product, any animal which is monogastric, hen poultry is a monogastric animal. It has got only one stomach. So what happened if the feed, what it is, a wild openly, an open cage, like free, what do you call that, freely roaming chicken, then it is not a problem. But if this chicken is been fed the artificial food what is manufactured in a factory, which is predominantly higher in soya, corn, and all those things, which is higher in omega 6, the meat of the bird is going to be predominantly omega 3, omega 6. But any other animal like a cow or a bull, which is what do you call that, multigastric, they have four stomach, they, if they eat grass, if you look at a bull, it is very muscular, right? What it eats is purely
Mhm.
grass. But many question people ask, how can a cow become so muscular or a ox become so muscular eating grass, and why can't human being become like that? So what I say that the digestive system is totally different. Okay, so they have a lot of they have four chambers in their stomach. So when this, there are double digestion for that, and it is converted into butyric acid, and butyric acid is converted into amino acids, and they get protein from that bacteria which feeds on the grass. So that is why they get protein. So basically, ultimately, the building block of any uh, muscle is basically amino acids. It cannot come from carbohydrates. So I avoid monogastric animals because I feel they are not so nutritionally high. Like, sometimes I eat some chicken liver or chicken heart. Apart from that, I don't
Yeah.
find this much. I have really
Yeah.
loss of strength in me when I eat chicken based food.
But I guess this doesn't apply to our general audience in back in India, at least, who depend a lot on chicken and egg for protein. This is
Yeah,
more like
see, Ex-
of the
exactly.
experts.
See, what I'm saying is, I'm not suggesting that everybody switch on to some other meat sources. But I found that for me, either I should get a real good chicken, which has been, cage-free chicken, which has got a better omega 3, omega 6 profile, or I prevent not to, I avoid not to eat it. But then there is no scope. Then there is nothing for we can do. Even the paneer, what we eat, also we don't know what is the quality of paneer we get. So if we get paneer from India also, but I prefer the paneer which is coming from Canada, which is much more, richer in the way they have been fed, because they have a different way of feeding the animals. So
Right.
it's just a personal choice. I'm not generalizing it and saying everybody should be having it. My opinion is that.
So we have one more question, and the person is the audience. The question is, when even when I am doing a low carb, I'm not getting satiety feeling. Did you also experience the same? That's the question.
Okay, when they say low carb, do they talk about talk about high fat or high protein?
Yeah. Just mention low carb.
It's low carb. So they must be not eating sufficient, because many time, 500 grams of meat a day. When I talk to somebody, and when I'm eating steak, I go more than 1 kilo also. There are days when I eat more than a kilo. Okay, so when I talk about that, it, like, they feel no. Like when we say hum in India, when we ask, do you eat protein? Yeah, we eat protein. So when you look at the portion, what we talk about is two pieces of meat, right? So when they talk about eating protein, what is the quantity of protein they are looking at? That's very important. You have to eat till you feel full. That's what I do. I said earlier also. I eat till I feel full.
Right. So I don't see any more questions. Is there any more questions?
I just want to ask one thing. Which oil do you primarily use for your cooking?
Well, I don't add any oil externally, because what meat I get is I don't trim away any of the fat from that. So I
Right.
cook it like that. I use a earth mud vessel to cook my food. And sometimes when I find the oil is less in that, I add, once the cooking is almost done and I'm about to pack it, I put 1 or 2 tablespoons of ghee into it. So
Okay.
I don't use any media of oil. And in between, when I accumulate all the bones, I make a bone soup, bone broth. On top of it, whatever fat accumulates, that I use to apply on my head and my body.
Right. Got it. Thank you.
So one last question, like it's not an audience question. I was supposed to ask this, but I forgot. So basically, people hear about this low carb carnivore and stuff, and I've seen many people who self experimented, and they run into problems such as constipation or feeling lethargic and stuff. So, in your experience, what are the common mistakes people make when they try to get into this low carb carnivore or keto, that kind of diet?
Well, constipation is something which I faced in the earlier phases when I started carnivore. So that time, what I did was I had a myth that I should add some veggies to it. So I used to add a lot of sprouts, cabbage, and all those things into it. So what is happening is this contribute to, again, carbohydrates go into your large colon intestine, and their fermentation happens again. So volumization of that thing along with this protein food, I found that was the main reason for constipation. So when I avoided completely all these vegetables, and it took some time for me to smoothen off. But now, if you look at constipation, is it difficulty to pass motion, or you don't have poop to be passed? There are two things. For me, when I became 100% carnivore, my uh, uh, passing my poop became very infrequent, like maybe two times or three times in a week. The simple thing is, there is no waste being generated when you eat a meat based diet, and what we poop out is what the body cannot process. Okay. So when we eat a meat only diet, all the food what you ingest is purely digested and absorbed. What is left is a few pebbles of poop. So that's what I have seen. So I don't know whether people will consider that to be constipation. I don't know, because that is lack of waste generation in your body. Number one. Number two is I add magnesium to my food, because like 1 or 2 scoops of magnesium, that's very important. And when the fat content in the meat is very low, that time also I used to feel little bit constipated. So fat content has to be there in the protein, plus magnesium in the normal way, because magnesium, I won't say it's a supplement, it's a basic thing required. But because of the plants and all the food lost magnesium from the soil, depleted because of the depletion in the soil, that's the main reason why we have to supplement. So magnesium is one thing which I have found relief in, and I don't have any problems of constipation now.
Okay. And which form
So
of
we have,
magnesium?
Well, I have two magnesiums what I take. The morning magnesium post workout, what I take is magnesium biglycinate, and night I take magnesium threonate, because
Right.
that helps me to cross the blood brain barrier. So that's more fast absorbing into the body.
Okay.
we have like one final question. I think it's getting too late.
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock, I guess. One final question. One of our audience wants to know what are the blood tests that is essential, right, to monitor your health? What are the blood tests that you recommend? We have spoken about this quite a few times, but they would like to know from you.
Well, when I say a complete blood profile, I would say the lipid panels is very important. The hormone panels, very important. Hormone, when I say it's a male testosterone, the free testosterone, and all those things. Then vitamin D is very important, and HbA1c is important. Then insulin is very important. Uh, Vitamin D is important, and all the potassium, sodium, that salts are all important. Your liver function is very important. TS1, TS3, TS4 is important. Your kidney function is important. So when you do the first testing, what I would say is do a complete panel for the blood, including your vitamin D, vitamin K, hormones, homocysteine, Homocysteine levels also very important. C-reactive protein is very important to know if there is any inflammation. Very important. So what I would say is ferritin is for men, especially you should check your ferritin levels. I was a patient. I have ferritin levels. So I have read Mr. Mangan's uh, dumping iron, in which I came to know my ferritin levels was high, and it's a very big threat to having dementia and all those brain problems because of higher levels of iron in your body, which is very oxidative. So first, I tried to have a cup of tea after my diet food every time. So it controlled my ferritin levels like anything. But then the side effect was my protein absorption also got affected with that. So there, what I did is I started blood donating very frequently, almost 4 times in a year. So now my ferritin levels are very much under control.
Uh, so with that question, we can wind it up. Kunal, we can wind it up. So
Yeah, I think thanks for joining us at this late hour. So
It's okay.
it's been such an inspiring journey to hear, and so much knowledge has been shared today. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you very
this, sir.
much.
And I think with that, we are come to the end of this podcast. So a big thank you to you,
Thank
Mr.
you
Anil
very
thank
much.
you.
Kumar.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dev, for having me here.
Uh,
And all the
And
listeners who are patiently listening to what I have been saying, thank you very much.
thank you. And so please follow him on X and follow us as well and join us next week for another insightful session on nutrition and fitness. Thank you for tuning in to Healthy Egg Sundays podcast. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and take care.
Thank you very much.
And and we would like to have you as a guest some other time too.
Sure,
That time we'll be focusing more on sports.
sure. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to have you both. Thank you very much.